We hear a lot about virtual reality today, and business applications are enormous. Not only that, job opportunities are great as well. Join me in this interview as I talk to Dave Hodgson, who is a president in that arena, and learn about what's available with virtual reality and the VR1. Virtual reality is taking off and really exploding. We're seeing a lot of application for it. Often we think of gaming and the capabilities there, but in addition to gaming, there's a lot of business applications. And to find out about that, I've asked Dave Hodgson to join us today. He is the president of 3D Solutions, which is a partner with Zeiss, the people that make all those wonderful lenses. They put those together, and he's joining us from his offices up there in the Detroit area. Dave, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
Well, I'm excited about what's happening with VR and have been watching your website, seeing what's going on, how you're doing this. For those that are thinking, well, VR is really just about gaming, tell us about how it's being used today in business applications.
Sure. So, obviously we were really excited about how VR has really exploded and taken off in gaming and 360 video and personal use. But we're equally as excited about the potential and some of the things we've started and the potential of things in the business world. So, one thing that we developed really from the very beginning of the launch of our product is we developed an application where our VR headset can be connected to a drone. We're seeing now, a dozen or so other solutions like this, but we're really the pioneers on connecting virtual reality to the drone application.
Yeah, well, I want to go into that a little bit more in depth because I know you've got a product called VR1. That's V as in Victor, R as in Romeo, and then O-N-E, VR1. It's got some amazing features and principles about it. Tell us a little bit about that, and maybe I can twist your arm a little bit and get a chance to take a peek at it on the website as well.
Sure, absolutely. So our core product is called the VR1, the Zeiss VR1 Plus. And essentially what this is, it's a mobile virtual reality headset, meaning that you can take it anywhere with you. If you're going to travel or you're going to go on vacation or you're going to, use it, remotely, you can take it with you. And how it's powered is through your smartphone. So essentially you take your smartphone, you have to take the case, if it has a case, your iPhone, you have to take your iPhone out of the case. You insert your iPhone inside the headset. All the apps and the content, et cetera, are driven from the App Store. And there's currently on the Apple App Store, there's over 3,000 apps that you can pick from.
Wow.
As far as, different things that you can do with it. But basically that's how it works. Now, what's the feature of this product that really is the most exciting and really in our wheelhouse and what makes, our capability really shine here is the lens. So we know that a virtual reality experience, and what basically for people who are listening today who don't know what VR is, imagine yourself being able to transport yourself from a visual and auditory standpoint to some other place in the world. You want to go to Machu Picchu and you want to walk the Great Wall of China. You literally today can do that by putting one of these goggles on with a set of headphones, and you'll literally feel like you're there. It's just an amazing experience.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's almost like you're actually there, which you think, wow, that's really nice. And I can see a lot of applications seem like in tourism or, and someone saying, well, would you like to go to the Great Wall of China? Oh, I don't know. Well, here's what it looks like. Put the gear on and everything and be able to do it. And you're saying I could just use my smartphone. I take that case off of this. But for instance, I've got an iPhone 6 Plus here. Would it work with my iPhone 6 Plus?
Absolutely. Yep. It works for the entire iPhone series, as well as most Android phones as well, too.
That is amazing.
Essentially, you're taking your case off, you insert the phone caseless inside the headset. We give you a case to put it in that's specially made to fit inside the goggles. And then you're launching an app from your phone before you insert it inside the headset, and it's transporting you virtually. So what makes our product unique is the lens, because our company, we're 170 years old. What we do better than really anyone else in the world is we make the world's premier lenses. So we realize that a virtual reality experience, the requirement is you actually have to have hardware. So you have to have some sort of computer. In our case, it's a smartphone. You have to have software. So you have to have some sort of app. You have to have audio. You have to have speakers or headphones. And the fourth thing you need is you need a powerful lens to be able to make this all come together. Because essentially in a VR headset, mobile VR headset, the lens is about 2 centimeters away from your eyeball. So try taking your smartphone, your iPhone, and holding it up to your eye and see if you can see it. You can't.
Yeah, that's not going to work real well. But
You got to have a powerful lens. And that's what really lends the VR1, the Zeiss VR1, as a premier mobile VR headset, because it's got such a good lens in it, and it just creates just a very sharp, crisp, clear picture. So you really feel even more like you're there because the image quality is so good.
Yeah, it seemed like that would be extraordinarily important, if not the most important part of the whole VR experience, because if you look at it and it looks kind of grainy or it doesn't look as good or something, it's going to diminish the whole experience of virtual reality, whatever you're using it for. Would that be correct?
We like to think so.
Yeah, it seemed like
I'm sure there's others out there that will contest that. However, from a lens manufacturer's perspective, and everything that we do is about your eyes and what you see. We definitely believe that the lens is the most critical factor.
Yeah, I like that. And also you mentioned the audio, because it would seem like if the audio is not good, that's not going to come through. We know in video that the most important part of video is audio. Mm-hmm. So you were mentioning the importance of audio, and your VR1, what kind of audio components do they put into that?
Yes, so the VR1 product itself does not ship with audio per se, in the box. What we've done, though, is we've made the product flexible so that our customers can use their own choice of audio. And again, there are so many great headphones on the market right now, from to even Apple earbuds are really good quality. But if somebody's got a really high end set of Beats headphones or something like that, they can use their own headphones. But audio is definitely a critical factor.
Yeah,
and you mentioned that audio is the most critical part of video. Definitely without video or without audio, there is no video, right? So I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's important. Well, now I want to see that VR1. Matter of fact, I think before we were doing the recording, you and I were practicing a little bit here that we could have you share your screen. And by the way, you're doing very well here on this technology called Zoom that we're using right now. Share a screen with us, and we'd love to have you talk to us a little bit about what's happening there.
Sure. So we'll go ahead and have you take a look. This is the VR1 here, and you can see the headset, what the headset looks like. It's got a pair of special lenses that are built inside the goggles. And as you can see, this is a smartphone, in case it's a generic smartphone, but let's just say it's your iPhone. We've got this cartridge that your iPhone will slip into, and then you literally slide the phone all the way inside the goggle. And then you can see that there's 2 images that appear to be the same thing on both sides of the phone screen. This image is the left side image, and then you have the right side image here on that side. Let me see if I can get a different picture of it. That's a closer up picture of it. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the drone part of it in just a second. And then that's the picture of the product from the front. Okay. And again, what makes this product unique and different from other VR products, there's really no limit. You have a sharp image from edge to edge. Products made, really for anybody's, depending on what their eye distances it'll support all eye distances, even for kids. And then 40% of the population wears eyeglasses. We give you the opportunity to wear your glasses with a VR headset, which is very unique. That
is important, because we don't want to take our glasses off if there are many people that would need that. So very good point.
Yep.
So I think that could be very good. Well, I want to look at some of the business applications of how people would use it. And maybe, if you don't mind, I could mention a couple of areas, and then you'd say, well, Terry, this is a way we could use it in that. Would that be all right if I give you a few scenarios and you help us on that?
Sure.
Yeah, so like, for instance, I saw on your website, one of the things it referenced was using the VR in a dental experience. When someone is seeing the dentist, how would that help?
Sure. So one of the things we know about the dentist, there's 8% of the population in America have a condition called dental phobia. And basically what that means is that they'll avoid going to the dentist at all costs. And essentially, people have a fear associated with going to the dentist, whether it's from a childhood or they just had a bad experience as an adult or whatever it may be, because maybe there was a painful experience or there was the way that it feels, etc. So one of the things we know about dentistry today is that dentists have focused a lot of time and a lot of money on making the patient comfortable. In fact, there's this whole part of dentistry called patient comfort. And they really focus, like I said, a lot of time and money on that. So one of the things that as a component of patient comfort is if you can distract a patient while they're getting their teeth cleaned or a root canal or filling or whatever it is, if you can distract them mentally, okay, from what they see and what they hear, because typically today dentistry is pain-free. I mean, it's down to a science. They know what they're doing. Obviously you have those cases of special cases where you have a rotten tooth or something like that, but typically it's pain-free. So this really takes their consciousness out of the picture, right? So they can watch a movie or a YouTube or a video or something like that in a headset while the dentist opens their mouth and does the work inside.
It seems like it's a pleasant distraction. I'm watching a great video. I'm enjoying some other experience. And correct me if I'm wrong, let me take one sidestep over from that. It seems like that would also work for those that are scared of flying. We got a flight from, say, Detroit to Los Angeles. Some people are terrified of that. How would a virtual experience help there?
Well, so, I mean, that might be opposite of the way you would think. So we're working with some organizations right now on phobias. And essentially the way to overcome a phobia is not so much the distraction like we talked about with dentistry. That's so that they can actually accomplish their job. But we're actually helping people overcome phobias with VR. And the way to overcome a phobia is to address the phobia. If you're afraid of heights, we can actually, in virtual reality, put you in a situation where you're on the top of a building scaling a rafter, 30 stories up. And the way that you overcome any phobia is to continually expose yourself to that phobia, and then you're not afraid of it anymore.
Yeah, I've heard the psychological term systematic desensitization.
Systematic desensitization is exactly what it is. Yep.
And we're getting used to it. It's like, okay, if I can experience that fear of heights, if I were there, but I can do it now in a safe environment. I've got the virtual reality on. Then I get more used to it and I learn what to do. And it would seem like we're using simulations, which, going back to the flying again, we know has been very successful in increasing safety of flying.
And the more real the simulation, the more impactful the treatment is. So, and where we're at with virtual reality today is we can make extremely realistic and real life simulations that have this deep and meaningful impact to the user.
Yeah, and it would seem like that cycles back to the importance of having really good lens, because you want to be able to see it. If it looks real, you look at that and go, wow, it's like I'm right here. That really intensifies it a little bit more. Well, let me go into some other areas for business applications. It would seem like real estate would have a lot of capabilities, both with and without the drone. Tell me about how it might be helpful there.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the things we're going to see this year for holiday are going to be affordable 360-degree cameras. Okay. Meaning that we saw this happening at CES this year. There's a camera that you can plug into your iPhone and it captures video 360 degrees, or it'll take a 360-degree picture. Okay.
I saw a lot of those at CES. It was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then so for holiday this year, we're actually going to see some really good quality portable 360 cameras. Maybe not the iPhone one, but ones that actually capture a 360-degree video. So if I'm a realtor and I want to share a listing with a dozen people or 100 people or 1,000 people or whatever, if I can go and I can capture this video in 360 and really get the essence of what this house is like without having to actually drag them out to the house in the neighborhood, etc. And by sitting with them, let's say over coffee or maybe I sit and I want to show them 10 properties, I can show all 10 properties in a VR headset and they'll get the essence of what that house is like before they ever set foot in it.
Very nice. Seems like that'd be good for the realtor that doesn't have to be another taxi service or run around. It's good for the people who have flown in from Poughkeepsie. They're moving to Detroit. They want to see they could say, okay, here's the 10. Let's look at this and we'll whittle it down to only these final 2.
That's it. Yep.
You've already seen a pretty realistic way of what it looks like.
Right. In addition to that, you also have the high-end commercial real estate. We've got the new construction where we're trying to get tenants in a facility, or we're trying to get, to sell a facility to someone, and we can actually give them a virtual walkthrough of this facility, what it's going to look like before it's ever built. Another app. in real estate.
Seems extraordinarily important. Now, well, let me go into an area that's very important to me, and I know to a lot of people as well, and that is in the area of training and learning. We've seen the importance of, accentuated importance of training and learning, keeping your skills current. How could training, learning, even down to soft skills like sales presentations, as well as training and learning on very technical areas, repair of machinery or something, how would VR help in that?
Sure. So there's an area of learning that really we feel that VR has just an enormous possibility. Now, this is something that we're just kind of getting going with, and that's really in the area of changing people's behaviors. And really, I mean, that's the core and the root essence of all learning, right? Is if you can teach somebody information, that's one thing. If you can actually get them to do what they learned, that's a whole nother task. So, and one of the things that we know with VR is we're able to create realistic, real life experiences for a user, for an individual. So let's just say that we want to teach somebody, a proper procedure or protocol on how to perform. Let's just say from industry, it's a lockout tagout, which is it's a safety protocol. So I'm going to do maintenance on a machine, and I've got to be able to tag this machine out. And lock it out and tag it out before I actually go in and do my maintenance on it. So through a simulation, through virtual reality, we can not only demonstrate the process and the protocol of doing it correctly, and we can make it interactive where that particular individual would actually have a list of questions that they would have to answer. Think of an LMS, an online learning system, where they would have to answer questions, and they can do this all in the headset and virtual reality. We could also simulate the consequences in a very real life environment of doing it the wrong way. Okay. In other words, the consequence of a failure to lock a machine out could result in an explosion, could result in a death, it could result in whatever. So we're able to make the simulate touching a hot stove so you don't touch it again, so to speak.
Nice.
And with VR, it really opens up a whole world of possibilities on corporate training, corporate learning, behaviors from the entire spectrum. And we're really, that's something that as a product, we're really excited about the potential, or as a method or a vehicle, we're really excited about the potential of VR.
Yeah, and it seems to me also that it's opening up a lot of other job opportunities for those who are going to program that.
Sure.
So for instance, you say, they possibly showing what could go wrong. We need someone to program the many different scenarios that are possible with this one machine.
Right.
Of what could happen, this could happen, or that bad thing, et cetera. And we demonstrate all of those, but the software is then built into it. Would seem like also could be good for soft skills training, learning for someone, let's say they're fresh out of school, they're going to get into a sales environment, learning certain things to do and what not to do in a sales situation. Would that work as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so the benefits that we know, in addition to, creating and simulating a real lifelike situation, is that VR, and actually I have one here. I don't have one here. VR, we saw what the headset looks like. Here, I'll switch the screen and we can kind of go back.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll go back to the guy wearing the VR headset so you kind of get the idea of what the VR headset looks like. Oops, there we go. Okay, so VR creates full immersion, right? So now if you're in a learning environment, if you're in a classroom full of people, or if you're at your desk and you're taking an LMS, an online learning, or you're reading a book, you have all sorts of distractions from the outside world that are going to influence your ability to capture and retain that information. Mm-hmm. In other words, it makes sense that the more you focus your attention on your subject matter, not only the more you're going to learn, but the longer you're going to retain it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Matter of fact, let me go even deeper on that. One of the things I've been fascinated with would be language learning.
Sure.
Like, for instance, I'm studying Spanish, I'm studying Russian. Tell me how someone could use VR to really get immersed in learning a new language.
Okay, so I mean, probably the most successful language training program for consumers is Rosetta Stone, and kind of what their program and the benefit of their program is that they're able to actually take you and immerse you virtually in another environment, but it's on your computer screen. or it's on your notebook, or it's on your smartphone or your tablet. Okay, to literally be able to fully immerse you inside of an environment. Again, it's going to block out, distractions. As we talked about before, it's going to, fully immerse you in that environment. So you'll be more apt to not only learn the dialects and learn the words, but you'll be able to retain those for a longer period of time.
Absolutely. It seems like it's amazing, and there's so many opportunities there. It's enormous. But I want to go even more. A lot of people that are going to be watching this, and a lot of people that will be reading about this, are those that are in programming, or they're in some way that they know they could increase their opportunities for career advancement. If they were to have, say, a VR1, let's use that as an example. They purchase a VR1, they've got it now. What kind of opportunities would be there? We're just going to use our wild imagination now and into the future, using a headset like that for becoming more useful in the marketplace, adding other skills that employers would hire. Help me on that. How would someone be able to get ahead and enhance their career more?
Sure. So, for our product, and again, there's a bit of a spectrum right now of VR headsets that are on the market. We've got PC-based VR headsets, so they actually will plug into the HDMI port on a PC, and it becomes essentially an external monitor. And these are typically the headsets that we see more for gaming. So those, like the Unreal Engine and those types of software platforms are what those developers are using to develop that content. For our product, we use phones, right? So we use Apple phones, we use Android phones. So
nice, because that's what we've got with us. Most everyone today has got one of these.
Yeah.
And we just pop that in there, load the right app, put your VR1 on, and we're off and running.
But from a developer's perspective, right, the developer actually, what he needs to know or she needs to know in order to create content and to be marketable in this exploding VR community is they're going to need to know app development. So they're going to need to know Unity. Unity is really probably the most broad tool for developing for iOS. And they're going to need to know how to develop on Android. So we actually, on our website, we actually have what we call the SDK, or the software developer tools, for anyone who is interested in wanting to learn how to develop apps. Those are available. They're not necessarily on the vr1.us website, but we have a Tumblr website. And we can share that website with your audience as well.
Yeah, tell us, where would they go if you're going to think? Do you remember that, or we can put it in?
Yeah, sure. It's Zeiss VR1, ZEISSVRONE.tumblr.com.
Tumblr.com. Thank you. So someone can go there, learn about that, and really start making headway. If they think, gee, I'm in a job that I don't like, or hey, I could lose my job to AI. Something's going on. We're seeing a lot of that right now. These kind of skills are going to be there. And it would seem like this is a good skill to learn that's going to help you for long term, which would be like 3 to 5 years would be really long term in our environment.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yep. And we see the need for developers, and the amount of developers that are available now to produce content that even companies are looking to develop. We just met actually with a very large corporation. I can't really say who they are at this point, but they have in excess of 50,000 employees, and exactly what we were talking about as far as training, they're looking to develop content for that. So there's definitely a market for that. So if anybody wants to ramp up their skill level and start learning how to develop apps for VR, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, well, let me, while we got you here, those that are watching this that are interested in that and ramping up their skills, they're going to be interested in a thing called salary. From what you hear, you go to a lot of different trade shows. What kind of range from low end to high end for someone who's reasonably trained on this? They know what they're doing. They've really got the chops down for it. What kind of salary range are we looking at?
Sure. Right now, we're seeing a lot of indie developers. So, they're independents. They're doing it, basically on their own. They don't necessarily work for companies. So that salary may not be, but income-wise, every single one of them is in either near or above 6 figures.
Very nice. Well, that sounds very good. Well, one of the things I mentioned a little bit about AI. I want to give your perspective on, we've seen how the VR now can work with drones. What about working with artificial intelligence? What are you seeing happening as those two fields come together?
Sure. So I think that what's happening with AI is it's going to skip over virtual reality and it's going to go directly to augmented reality, which is what we call AR. In our community. So this kind of blend of emerging technologies that are happening today, where you have you're able to talk to your computer essentially, and it can respond and interact with you. And then you have the ability, so that's the verbal aspect of it. And then now we're going to have the visual aspect of it. And if you're not understanding what AR is, augmented reality is essentially if you have a pair of glasses that you put on, and we'll have actually display on the inside of the glasses and be able to give us information visually about what's happening in our environment and surroundings.
So I'm seeing what's happening in the environment, but I also see a little notice here that, hey, watch out for this over on this side, or over here, this is what you do. I think we've seen that with sometimes people that would be operating on, say, a 747. They're doing repair work. They can nod their head just right or click, and the instruction manual comes up on how to do it. Would that be something like AR?
It's sort of, yeah. Actually, the first AR has been around for a while back in the military applications for sure, and such, especially in airline industry, not airline, but the Air Force. The first consumer application of AI was the Google Glass, which you remember that it was the glasses with the frame that had a little icon or a little screen on the upper left-hand corner. So really where the world is going is, fully immersive. So it's not just a little icon. It could be the entire thing, where you might even be able to use your AR glasses and make it VR and watch an immersive movie.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask you about where we're going in the future. So immersive movies, tell me a little bit about what that will be like.
It'd basically be like sitting in your own personal movie theater. And there have been products that have been able to deliver that experience, really, that have been on the market for years. And they're your classic head-mounted displays. In fact, our company launched one back in 2012. It just, that type of product, if that's all you're using it for, it's okay marketable. But we're talking about something that you can actually see through and you can use in normal life, and also has some smart intelligence about it. It's got built-in PC, it's got AI, etc.
An amazing industry, a lot of good things. I keep thinking back to the flight, because I do a lot of flying, and that flight from Los Angeles, LAX, over to Sydney, Australia, I think it's about a 3,000-year flight.
Yeah.
It takes that long to get there. It'd be nice to have, I'm envisioning my own virtual reality plugged in with about 100 hours of choices, and I could just go anywhere, do anything, learn anything. Seems like it'd be pretty nice. Are we pretty close to that happening?
No, we're there now. Actually, the VR1, the Zeiss VR1 that we have on the market now, that's available on our website. You can see it, and it's also available in Best Buy stores around the country and Target stores around the country. We actually have a free app that you can download, and the app actually plays movies that are loaded on your phone. You have to put the movie on your phone as well too. And obviously, if you're in the air, unless you pay for the Wi-Fi, you got to have all the content stored locally on your device. Yeah, you can watch 2, 3, 4, however long the battery in your phone will last. That's how many movies you can watch, where you're fully immersed in a headset in your own personal movie theater.
It seemed like that would work on the phone. Could I also use that on my iPad? So I hook it to the iPad and get a wire going up to it somehow?
Well, the iPad's not going to fit inside the headset. So we're talking about... I wonder
if there might be another way to do it, but probably not. That makes sense.
Yeah. No.
But with the phone, nevertheless, if you completely engulf me in it and it's a full 3D experience, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll do fine.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Dave, I know that as people watching this are going to think, hey, how do I find out more about this? You've got a website, you've got ways they can reach you. How do they get in touch with you?
Sure. The easiest way, is to hit our website. It's just simple, vr1.us. And so I'm responsible.
That one is O-N-E, V-R-O-N-E.
V-R-O-N-E, yep, .us. Thanks for the correction there. My responsibility is North America. So we service, Canada, our neighbors to the north, pretty much, the entire U.S. and part of Mexico. And that's my responsibility. Of course, it's a global product. We're a global company, so it's available anywhere, no matter if you get listeners and viewers from around the world. But definitely that's the best way. And we have a contact form on there. Just put my name in the contact form, and they'll make sure when it comes through that it gets forwarded to me. Yeah.
And for those that might not be native English speakers and wondering, who is this guy? Please spell your name for us so they can get in touch that way.
Sure. It's Dave, and it's Hodgson, Hodgson.
Very good. Dave Hodgson, you've kind of given us a tour of the future, of what's happening, and the future is now. What is available right now with some very practical advice. Any final words before we let you go?
Well, not other than I appreciate your invitation and allowing me to share, some of our ideas for the future. We're really, really excited about virtual reality and augmented reality. We think it's one of those technologies that's definitely going to revolutionize things. A few years ago, a few of our icons, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they stood in front of people and said that this is going to revolutionize and change the world, and people thought they were crazy. I think we've learned to accept that when people assert that some technology is going to change the world, and there's actually some legs behind it, that it will. And I'm not the guy that did that. I'm just I'm on the train, I guess, so to speak, and can be an ambassador. But we really think that this technology has a lot of good to do in the world, and we're just excited to be here.
Well, it's exciting to be there with you to find out about that. We appreciate what you've said and being with us, Dave. Thank you very much. And for those of you that are joining us, think about what's happened here. This is a world that is exciting. I got to tell you, personally, this is exciting for me. Dave is coming to us from his office there in the Detroit area. I grew up not too far from there in Michigan also. I worked in the factories, worked my way through undergrad school in the union factories, working very hard. And my heart goes out for people right now that see their jobs being eroded away. They say, oh, the job's being sent overseas. Sometimes the jobs are just evaporating because, like, we don't need as many people shoeing horses today as they did back in the early 1800s or so. People had to move. We can regret it, or here's the option. Notice what Dave was saying. You get these skills and you're making six figures or more. I mean, you've got to have these skills. You need to go out and study it, but there's ways to do that. An investment in yourself to get the right kind of equipment, the right schooling, the right training can really pay off. So rather than being depressed, you have just had a chance to see the future for you right now at this moment and for the rest of your life. I would encourage you to take advantage of it. Bounce over to their website, look at what they've got. If it's right for you, look into their headset. Looks really good. It can be a lot of educational and fun as well. So look into that, see what's available. I'm Terry Brock with terrybrock.com and reporting for Business Journals. Thank you for being here with us today.